All right, so I ended up with a bunch of leftover brisket, and obviously not gonna waste that. And I do have 5 people in this household. So instead of just having another regular brisket meal, I thought I would make one of my favorite things, and that's chili. So you have not lived until you've had a brisket chili, a proper brisket chili. So I've actually got 2 pounds of smoked, delicious brisket right here, Craft Barbecue. And I'm gonna show you how to make the best chili recipe that you can have. And no, it doesn't have beans in it because screw beans and chili, they don't go there. Sorry. Anyway, this is a very easy recipe. I'm gonna do it for you right now. Let's pop into it. Why would I say pop into it? That's stupid. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add 2 pounds of the brisket to a pot ready to go on the stove. Now, if you're gonna do like beef, like ground beef, and it's not cooked, you wanna actually just cook that all the way through. So you're gonna put it on here and brown it, which will take, 7 minutes or so, on a medium-high heat, depending on how you're cooking your beef. So we're gonna let this, basically, since this came out of the refrigerator as a leftover, I'm gonna mix it all up. I'm gonna let it heat up. Once it gets nice and reheated, then we'll pull it from the heat, and then we'll use the juices in there to cook the onions and the rest of the ingredients. Okay, if only you could smell what I'm smelling right now. This is amazing. Once it's all nice and heated, and I've tested it with a couple of slices to also make sure it's not poison, we're gonna take the beef out with a slotted spoon, and we're gonna leave all of the juices in there. All right, you may need to add a little bit extra cooking fat since this has already had rendered fat out of it. I'm gonna add a little piece of, or about a tablespoon of coconut oil. That way when we put in the onions and everything, it'll have a little bit of juice to saute in there. Okay, now that we have our meat out, we've got our additional cooking fat in there, we're gonna add in our ingredients. And I'm going to start with 1 onion and 6 cloves of garlic. Okay, 2 teaspoons of cumin, 2 teaspoons of chili powder, 1 teaspoon of paprika, 1 teaspoon of mustard powder, 1 teaspoon of salt. Then we're gonna reduce the heat to medium-low and stir or cook these until the onions are translucent. That'll take 5 to 7 minutes depending on your equipment. So medium-low, 5 to 7 minutes, stir, mix, and we'll return when these are translucent. All right, so it looks like the onions are right about where we want them. We're gonna add in 2 cans of 14.5 ounces of the diced tomatoes. I'm gonna add in about 3 to 4 cups of beef broth. This one you can kind of do up to yourself. If you wanna do like 3 and then a little bit of water, make it a little less oily, but I kind of just put the whole thing in there and keep it easy on myself. So about 4 cups of beef broth, and then we're gonna add the meat back into the pot, and then we're gonna bring this up to a boil. Okay, now the key here is that we want to let it emulsify and really blend together for a nice, hearty chili. So what we're going to do is bring this all the way up to a boil, then lower the heat and let it simmer for an hour, hour and a half, even 2 hours if you want to increase your thickness. So let's do that now. All right, so at this point in the chili, we've been here for a little over an hour, and I've hit the consistency that I like the most. A little bit runny, but not much, and you can see a lot of that beef and ingredients have kind of emulsified together. I really like that. It's thickened up quite a bit, as you can see. But again, it's not like a paste or anything like that. It's a nice, good, hearty stew that really is to me like the perfect chili. Now this is actually down 2 or 3 bowls because the family didn't want to wait for me to finish this video, which is always a good sign that you've made a good dish. So next thing we have to do is to ensure that they haven't been inadvertently poisoned, and I need to test it myself. So we'll set it up, dish out a bowl, and see how it tastes. Time to dish out that bite. Now, as per usual, this is gonna be incredibly hot, and I'm not going to care. I'm just gonna scald my mouth anyway because I can't wait to get some chili. Now, like most chilies, you can of course put cheese and onions on top for the additional flavor, texture, and crunch. I'm gonna go with it nice and straight up good as it is. That is so good. The brisket, tender to begin with, still maintains structure in the chili. The longer you let it sit here, the more it just gets like, it diffuses like the whole stew with like the smoky flavor. So good. This is perfect for a cold day. Oh man, football season comes, like I make this all the time. It's delicious. It's easy to do. It doesn't take too long. So I really enjoy making this dish. It's a good way to use all the leftovers. And I mean, there'll be often times where I'll make a brisket so that I have leftovers in order to make chili. So it's just a very, very good experience. Easy recipe. I do have more brisket leftover recipes coming. I was inspired when I shipped out a brisket to a friend and customer, and he made fried rice, chili, eggs, burrito. We're gonna do a whole bunch of things. So stay tuned for those videos, and we'll have more brisket recipes on the way.